first lesson. So the first unit is about cultural issue and values, then أشياء ثقافية والقيم. So we start with the vocabulary. We have expressions of definition. So when we want to define something we use these words. باش كنبغي نعرفو شي حاجة كنستعمل هادو. We use is or refers to يشير إلى. Then is or is referred to as يشار إليه كذا, or is defined as يعرف بكذا, or has been defined as عرف بكذا. Ça est défini ou bien ça a été défini. La voix de passive voice or is doing. So we have when we want to define something for somebody, we use this expression here. This refers to, was referred to as, or is defined as, or has been defined as. So please write down the translation of this word and memorize them. So refers to is يشير إلى, or is defined يعرف كذا. So cultural anthropology is, we want to define cultural anthropology. We say cultural anthropology is, or refers to, or is referred to as, or has been defined as the study of human culture. So cultural anthropology is the study of human culture. We can say this sentence like this, or we can say cultural anthropology refers to تشير إلى the study دراسة ثقافة الإنسان, the study of human culture, or is referred to as being the study of human culture, or has been defined as the study of human culture. An anthropologist is an expert in anthropology. Anthropologist, or the person who study anthropology. An expert, خبير. Culture is the way of life of a particular group of people. This is the definition of culture. It is the way of life of a particular group of people. هي طريقة عيش واحد طائفة من الناس. Particular group, واحد صنف معين من الناس. A stereotype. What is stereotype? دوك تعريف النمطية. Is stereotype is defined as, so we are using this word we said before, is defined يعرفكو as being a belief about an individual or group based on the idea that everyone in particular group will behave in the same way. فاش كنعتقدوا دوك تعريف النمطية، مثلا كنقولوا هاد الطبقة من الناس راهم زقرامة راهم شحاح وكذا. Then this is what we call stereotype. Hospitality. What is hospitality? الكرم and tolerance تسامح are values that are deeply rooted in our culture. So hospitality, كرم and tolerance تسامح are values, القيم that are deeply rooted, عميق متجذرة deeply بعمق. deep هو العمق, root جذور, deeply rooted in our culture. So hospitality and tolerance, كرم الضيافة والتسامح are قيم التي متجذرة في ثقافتنا. If you happen to go to live in a foreign country with a different culture, you will have to adjust to it. Otherwise, you will feel as a fish of water. If you happen to go to live in a foreign country, إذا حدث أنك ذهبت تعيش في بلد أجنبي, foreigner, un pays étranger, with different culture, they have different culture, you have to adjust to it. خصك تكيف معها, to adjust. Otherwise أدخم وإلا you will feel as a fish of water. كتحس براسك uncomfortable, معزول, isolated. So like for example, you are in a classroom, your friend, everybody understand, for example in mathematics, but you don't understand, only you feel as a fish of water. كتحس براسك معزول وحداني. Different cultures have different values. Every culture has its own values. كل وحدة عندها القيم. Values vary. They vary. They're different. تختلف. From culture to culture. People from rural areas من العالم القروي they stick to customs and tradition more than urban people. الناس اللي من البادية كي stick كيتمسكوا يلسطش يتمسكون to customs and tradition العادات والتقاليد more than urban people. This is rural people, this is urban الناس ديال المدينة urban who live in the city. Rural people live in the village. Cultural issue القضايا الثقافية arise when groups of people believe another group behaves wrongly. متى كتبان هادي when group of people believe another group behave wrongly فاش كيقولوا راه الناس الاخرين كيتصرفوا يتصرفون ils se comportent d'une manière fausse بطريقة خاطئة. Culture is learned and transmitted from generation to generation. الثقافة is learned and transmitted كتنتقل من from generation to generation. deeper insight إذن فهم عميق into other people's custom. إلا فهمنا if we understand other people's custom ثقافة العادة ديال الشعوب أخرى. values and ideas القيم ديالهم and ideas أفكارهم minimize تقلل conflict صراع due to ignorance and intolerance. due to à cause de بسبب ignorance الجهل and intolerance عدم التسامح. tolerance we have seen here tolerance, here we have intolerance عدم التسامح. So we pass to communication when we want to ask for clarification. We say what does the verb mean? What does it mean? This is what we use. Or what is another word for? So what does the verb mean? What is another word for this? When we want to ask about clarification. We want somebody to clarify something for us. توضيح. What is another word of aware? قولي شي كلمة أخرى كتعني aware يعني واعٍ. It's conscious. Someone ask what is another word of aware? Be conscious. This one is asking about for clarification and this person is answering him back. So vocabulary page 12. Uneasy it's uncomfortable. n'est pas à l'aise ما مرتاحش. unlike is as opposed, it's not like. For example, we say mathematics is hard صعيب unlike geography and history and geography. It's easy. It's unlike mathematics is not easy. It's unlike ليس مثل ماشي بحال. to obey to respect, to abide by. For example, you must obey to your parents. You must abide by. To obey the law. For example, to obey or to respect. تحترم ولا تلتزم. To abide by تلتزم. هذا to respect, to obey. Dissimilarity. There are similarities. Things that are like أشياء المتشابهة. Dissimilarity differences. Natural healthy. Wrongly it's the opposite of rightly. Wrongly بطريقة خطأ هذه بطريقة صحيح. Now we go to grammar. This we have a conditional type 1 and type 2. So type 1 we have the first verb simple present الفيرب الأول كنكونجيغيوه في simple present. The second verb is the simple future. إلا درت هاد الحاجة غتعطيك هاد الحاجة. If you pay attention in the classroom, this is the simple present. If you pay attention in the classroom you will understand better. You will, this is the simple future. إلا انتبهتي في القسم غادي تفهم مزيان، شي حاجة غتحقق. I will continue my studies abroad. غنتبع الدراسة ديالي في الخارج. If I get high grades in by back exams. إلا حصلت على نتائج جيدة في الباك غنتابع الدراسة ديالي في الخارج. This is simple future. تقدر تبدا ب simple future والفيرب الآخر في simple present، ولا تبدا ب simple present ولا آخر في simple future. Mariam won't worry. This is the will. The negation is won't or will not. Same, won't. This is simple future. Will not marry Nabil. Mariam will not marry Nabil. ما غتزوجش بيه. Why? If he isn't an honest person. كانت غتزوج به لو أنه لم يكن honest. Okay, can do it. Mariam will not marry Nabil if he is not an honest person. Now we pass to conditional type 2. Type 2 we use the simple past. The first verb 1, simple past. The other verb is the present conditional. Present conditional we use would or could or should. ولا النفي دياله would not ولا could not ولا should not plus the verb in the infinitive. If I were you I would give up smoking. And this is imaginary. The conditional type 2 is just imaginary. كتبقى تخيل شي حاجة ما كايناش ولا ما كانتش. لو كون وقعت هادي غيوقع هادي. If I were you I would give up smoking. لو كنت مكانك لا خلعت عن التدخين. We would not have so many cars accidents if both drivers and pedestrians were careful enough. ما يكونش عندنا we would not have so many car accidents. ما يكونش عندنا beaucoup d'accidents if both لو أن both drivers السائقين les chauffeurs and pedestrians الراجلين were careful enough. So we have many accidents because drivers and pedestrians are not careful enough. So this is would not, the negation. We would not have so many car accidents if both drivers and pedestrians were. This is the simple past. So we say one verb in the simple past, another verb in the present conditional. Present conditional we use would, could, should, or ولا كنديرو لهم النفي not. And we can start with either of them. كنبداو إما ب present conditional or the simple past. If Suad had money she could buy a new laptop. If Suad had money, this verb to have in the simple past. لو أن سعاد if Suad had money she could buy. This is the present conditional could. This is verb in the infinitive. هذا ما كنصرفوش الفيرب الثاني. She could buy a new laptop but she doesn't have money. This is just imaginary. كنبقاو نتخيلو مع راسنا. Now we have passed to asking for or giving advice and responding to it. So we can ask for advice. كنطلب النصيحة. We can give advice. نقدر نعطي النصيحة. responding كنجاوب على النصيحة واش جاتني هي هذيك ولا لا. So asking for advice. What do you think I should do? What do you suggest? ماذا تقترح? What would you do if? ماذا ستفعل لو كنت مكاني مثلا? What is your advice for? You can use this. So we have to memorize 2 or 3. هذا منهم ولا أحفظ منهم 2 ل 3. What would you advise for example, or what do you suggest? And how can I, this other expression, what should I do شنو خصني ندير. That's really giving advice. You want to give advice to somebody فتنصح شي واحد. I think you should خصك دير هادي. maybe you should. it's best not to. أحسن لك ما ديرش. it's a good idea not. why don't you. if I were you I would. لو كنت مكانك I would. you had better من الأحسن. إذا بحال هادي يحفظها الإنسان. you had better أحسن لك. c'est mieux de faire ça. you had better or I think you should. then you should. that's three. that's a good idea thanks. if responding to advice عجبتك ديك الاقتراح ديك النصيحة اللي عطاتك. that's a good idea thanks. or thanks for your advice but I really ديك النصيحة ما thank you for your advice but I sorry I can't. it sound like a good idea. تبدو تبدو like a good idea. we have this mini dialogue. patient this is the patient and this is the doctor. هذا le malade c'est le docteur. I'm afraid I'm putting on white doctor. I'm afraid I'm putting on white doctor. I'm sorry I'm putting on white. كيتزاد لي الوزن ديالي doctor. what do you think I should do. what do you think. this one asking for advice كيطلب النصيحة. doctor it's a good idea not to eat between meals. the doctor is giving advice. it's a good idea. so we can use this expression not to eat between meals. ne pas manger entre les repas. ما تاكلش بين for example dinner and lunch. you should not eat. that's for example you eat three meals. 3 الوجبات كافية. and you had better exercise. do some exercise. sport. practice sport. رياضة at least 3 times a week. at least على الأقل 3 times a week. maybe you should eat more vegetables and less fatty food. and maybe you should eat more vegetables. كل أكثر من الخضار and less fatty food. الأكل اللي غيجعلك fat تولي غليظ. patient it sounds like a good idea. oh this is a good idea. thanks for your advice doctor. he's responding. now he is responding advice. he asked for advice. the doctor gave advice and at the end he respond to the advice. so we can ask for advice, we can give advice, and we can respond to advice. we have to learn for example 3 expression in each situation. كل وحدة نحفظوا فيها 3 now vocabulary. ambitious someone who is ambitious. hard working aspiring طموح hard working كيخدم. aspiring كيطمح. broad minded somebody broad minded. open minded منفتح عقله مطالع ومنفتح. capable competent competent. effective فعال. cheerful somebody who's cheerful. it's light hearted joyful. واحد كيبتسم دائما وناشط وضحوكي. we say cheerful or light hearted or joyful. joy فرح. forgiving somebody who forgive كيسامح. willing to forgive others. helpful somebody who help يساعد. working for the welfare of others. الرفاهية يعمل على رفاهية الآخرين. honest somebody honest. sincere or truthful. imaginative somebody has imagination عنده الخيال. creative or daring. independent so we should learn to be independent. كل واحد خصو يتعلم يكون مستقل يعتمد على نفسه in study in everything. self-reliant independent كيعتمد على نفسه. logical something logic. consistent rational عقلي. polite somebody polite. courteous مؤدب. well mannered مربي. self-controlled somebody who control himself كيتحكم في نفسه. self-disciplined. courageous is standing up for your beliefs. courageux. now expression lack of understanding when you don't understand something. ما كتفهمش شي حاجة. interrupting كتوقف شي واحد كيكون هضر and asking for clarification كتطلب توضيحات. expression lack of understanding. Could you say that again or repeat it please؟ واش يمكن لك تعاودها؟ I beg your pardon ولا just I beg your pardon عفوا باش يعاود لك I'm not quite sure I follow you. ما كنظنش انني متابعك شنو كتقول. I'm not quite sure I know what you mean. شنو I beg your pardon but I don't quite understand. So we have all this expression mean the same. Express a lack of understanding when we don't understand something. So we have to learn at least 3 or 4 of them. Excuse me, you interrupt now somebody is speaking and you don't understand, so you interrupt him. كتوقفه. Excuse me, sorry but excuse me for interrupting. سمح لي عذرا على المقاطعة. May I interrupt for a moment؟ واش يمكن لي can I add something؟ واش يمكن لي نزيد شي حاجة؟ Can I say something here؟ I'd like to say something if I may. Can I ask a question? So this is interrupting or asking for clarification. This is when we want something to be clarified for us. كنسأل على توضيحات. What do you mean by؟ شنو كتقصد بهذه؟ Do you mean I'm not quite with you. What do you mean؟ شنو كتعني؟ Could you clarify that please? For example, you can memorize this one. Could you please clarify that? Or what do you mean? Could you explain what you mean? Or could you explain? That's 3. And now expression for clarifying one's point of view or idea. كتبي توضح الفكرة ديالك. Let me explain that. Let me دعني أشرح. Let me put it another way. خليني نشرحها بكلمة أخرى بطريقة أخرى. Let me express that differently. They mean the same. هذا عندهم نفس المعنى. Sorry, let me explain. In other words, بمعنى آخر. Autrement dit, in another term. To say that differently. To put it differently. To explain. So we have in this situation the headmaster, المدير. Mobile phones are not allowed at school. The headmaster is saying mobile phones are not allowed. ممنوعة at school. Student, sorry sir, I'm not quite sure I know what you mean. ما فهمتش واش ممنوع زعما نجيبوها معانا ولا نستعملها ولا كيفاش. Headmaster, in other words بكلمة أخرى, you must not use your mobile at school. ما تستعملوش. You must not use because they are forbidden. ممنوعين. Student, I'm sorry sir. I'm sorry sir. And in grammar finally we have the past perfect versus the past perfect continuous. So the past perfect we use had plus the past participle of the verb had plus the past participle of the verb كنفورميو بهذه الطريقة. الفيرب كنزيدو ed. إلا كان ريغولي إلا كاين ريغولي لو فيرب ريغولي كنزيد for example walk كنزيدها walked. هذا هو الباست بارتيسيبل ديالها. كاع لي فيرب ريغولي كنزيدو ed. ولا كان irregular verb هادوك اللي خصنا نحفظوهم هادوك. This is the past participle. For example, after we see the past participle continuous, مرة دايرين هنا had past participle هنا غلط. كاينة had plus been plus the verb plus ing. After the cultural anthropologist had finished the lecture, this is the past participle. He flew to Tangier. So we have two verbs in the past. كيكون عندنا deux verbes conjugués. واحد in the simple past flew. بعد ما كمل he had finished he flew to Tangier. سافر لطنجة. By the time I went to see the doctor. اللي مشيت هذه دي simple past. الأخرى كتكون past participle. I had been ill for at least 2 weeks. فوقاش مشيت حتى مرضت واحد أسبوعين. أديب had bought past participle had وهذا bought verb irregulier. هذا verb irregulier داكشي علاش مزدناش أدي حيت irregulier خصنا نكونو حافظينو. ماشي بحال had finished regular زدناه فقط أدي. أديب had bought a brand new car before he got his driver license. قبل ما ياخد البيرمي ديالو شرا واحد سيارة من نوع الوعر. أديب هاد بروتش. إذا الأول هاد بروتش وحدة كتكون هاد بروتش brand new car before he got. This is the simple past. وحدة verb كنا كنقول في simple past وواحد في past participle. Once إلهام had read simple past the advert about the job. فاش قرات الإعلان على شي خدمة she went to the office of admission. So the first to read the advert. في الأول قرات بعدا هداك الإعلان. هداك الفيرب كندير في past participle. عاد من بعد she went to the office of admission. إذا الأول اللي جا في الباست كنديرها في past participle. عاد الحاجة اللي وقعت من بعد في الباست كنديرها في simple past. بحال هنا had finished the lecture. كمل المحاضرة. إذا هذيك كنديرها في past participle. عاد he flew. عاد هاد الفيرب الثاني اللي وقع من بعده كنديروه في simple past. Jean had done her homework before she went out. So she had done دارت العمل ديالها. عاد الفيرب الثاني she went اللي وقع من بعده كنديروه في simple past. she went out. عاد خرجت. When he arrived to the airport. فاش وصل الايربورت there were no plane. So first he arrived to the airport and ما لقى حتى no airplane حتى طائرة. it had already taken off. it had already كانت قلعت. هنا عندنا indication ديال already. تكون عندي already بعض المرات كنستعمل هذا past participle. Now, why didn't you tell her that you had divorced your first wife? Why didn't you? This verb in the simple past. That you had divorced. So أول حاجة أنا had divorced. وقعت قبل من هاد. The fire had already spread. The fire had already spread. انتشرت العافية. Had already spread to the neighboring houses when the fire brigade arrived. قبل ما يوصلوا الناس ديال المطافئ كانت العافية انتشرت. إذا هاد الفيرب الأول كيكون عندك دو زاكسيون دو لو باسي وحدة قبل من وحدة. اللي وقعت الأولى هي اللي كندير في past perfect. هاهي had already spread انتشرت كاع المنازل المجاورة. when the first fire brigade arrived. عاد وصلوا رجال المطافئ. هادي الفيرب الثاني كيكون في simple past والفيرب اللي وقع قبل منه كيكون past participle. past perfect عفوا. Monia and Jamal had been emailing each other. هذا هو الآخر le temps de هذا le past perfect continuous. past perfect continuous قلنا كيكون had plus been والverb كنزيدو ing في الآخر ديالو. جمال had been emailing. هاهي email كيرسل emailing each other before they got married. شي حاجة كتكون continue dans le passé كتوقع تكرارا في الباسي. جمال موليا and جمال had been emailing كانوا كيراسلوا بعضهم each other before they got married. عاد الفيرب الثاني تاو كيكون past. Jim had been studying computer science for 3 years before he graduated. He has been studying every day. كان كيقرأ computer science before for 3 years before he graduated. قبل ما يتخرج كان كيقرأ. إذن lastly we will see some phrasal verbs. غنشوفو phrasal verbs. I've tried explaining how it works. حاولت نشرح كيفاش كتخدم but I just can't get through to him. ما قدرتش نشرح له. communicate. هاد phrasal verb هنايا get through على حساب سي. هنا كتعني get زائد شي حاجة. هنا زائد through. إذا communicate with ما قدرتش نتواصل معه. I'm taking a baccalaureate this year. I will certainly get through. هنا get through كتعني حاجة أخرى pass غادي ننجح. I still don't know how to use Excel. مازال مكنعرفش نستعمل Excel داك البرنامج Excel. Could you possibly go through the instruction again. go through هي repeat. واش تقدر تعاود تشرح لي هذوك التعليمات؟ go through. هيا هنا ماشي get through، هنا go through. get through هي repeat. هنا get through كتعني communicate، و get through في السياق الثاني كتعني pass غادي ننجح. وهنا go through something هي كتعاودو مرة أخرى. One of my classmates has been very ill, but her doctor says she will pull through. To pull through. To recover. غادي تشافى، غادي تعافى. survive. One of my classmates وحدة من واحد. one of has been very ill but كانت مريضة. one of my classmates has been very ill. كانت مريضة بزاف. but her doctor says she will pull through. so pull through is to recover. غادي تشافى، غادي تعافى. I've looked through the editorial twice and cannot see the issue the editorialist is arguing for. read carefully. هنا I've looked through the editorial. كان مطبوع twice زوج المرات and cannot see the issue. I cannot see the issue the editorialist is arguing for. To see is to read carefully. So we have هنا get through, go through, get through communicate, go through go through هي repeat، وعندنا هنا pull through هي to recover. في الامتحان راه كيعطيك هاد phrasal verbs كيقولك اشرحهم، لان هاد الواحد يعقل عليهم يحفظهم. pull through to repeat، to go through to repeat، to get through هنا عندها جوج المعاني، اما to communicate كيتواصل، ولا to pass كتنجح. so see you later next episode. لأن هذا طبعوهم وحاولوا تصرحوا قاع الكلمات، وهذا expression هذا do some exercise on it and see you later.